Monica LeBaron, MBA, is a best-selling author and sleep expert who helps ambitious women with sleep disorders get a good night's rest in 30 days or less. Using her signature program, Sleep Simplified, she helps hundreds of clients worldwide overcome insomnia and reduce stress and anxiety. Her passion for helping others was sparked after burning out at her corporate job and using the four-step Sleep Simplified framework to heal from insomnia, chronic pain, stress, and anxiety. Monica's expertise has been featured in the International Association of Yoga Therapists, Healthy Woman, Telemundo 48, Spirituality and Health, and the Insight Timer app. We are so thrilled to have you here with us, Monica. Thank you for being here.
I'm so excited to have this conversation and, to get to connect with you. It's been a while. So it's really nice to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
We
Yes.
go back several years. Monica and I met in a yoga therapy training, and my life had kind of fallen apart or began to fall apart, my life as I knew it. And I wasn't sleeping at all during that training. And well, that was an exaggeration. I was sleeping a little, but not well and not enough. And I remember one night I was telling Monica, I just cannot sleep. We were in these dorms and there were so many women in there, which is great. It's just people getting up, going to the bathroom. There's a lot of opening and closing of doors, noise, different lights. And I remember just really desperately needing a good night's sleep. And Monica was like, Here, just come over to my bunk bed. And she had cocooned her lower bunk with sheets to block out the external light. And I just laid down on her low bunk bed there and she did Reiki on me because she is trained in Reiki. And I just felt like I was in the presence of an angel. So I
Hmm.
wanted to share that with you because I believe everyone has spiritual gifts, and one of Monica's gifts, I believe, is the gift of healing. So, do you feel that, Monica? Do you feel that in your life that you have that gift? I'm curious.
Wow. Thank you for that story. I didn't remember that. I thought you were going to say that I gave you my yoga nidra audio, but I guess that was in another occasion.
You did give me your yoga nidra audio, and it was good. But yeah, I remember the Reiki too.
Yeah. So I do feel like the more I've learned from different tools and the more I do the work that I do, that I know that I was put in this world to help others heal, but especially to help them remember like that it's important to love themselves and set those boundaries either in healing, either on their personal life, and just in general, to love themselves a little bit more. And of course, sleep like queens.
Yes.
Sorry about
Yes.
that.
And you are the sleep queen. You are the queen of sleep. And the last time I saw Monica, I just want to tell the listeners, we were in New York City. And, it's the city that, quote, never sleeps, right? And there's just so much stimuli all the time, so much noise, so much chaos. And I love the city, but I usually don't really sleep there very much. And I had been in an artist residency for 5 days with barely any sleep. And I remember Monica and I met up and we were sharing a bed in a hotel because we're like sisters. So we were sharing a bed, and I just thought like I never sleep well with anyone sharing a bed. I'm just not a good sleeper sharing a bed. But that night I slept like a rock because again, Monica is the queen of sleep. And as we were winding down for the night after having a fun day in the city, like she had on meditation music and we're both journaling and reading and doing our yoga. And that's a fun memory. Just, I think Monica's abilities to care for herself and have boundaries, whether it's sleep or in relationships, is infectious. So I love that about you, Monica. You
Thank
really model that.
you.
So tell us your journey, like how you came. I know about how you came to this point. of becoming the queen of sleep, but our listeners probably don't know. So, can you tell us about that peak stress moment in your life and what led up to that? And then what led to you finding your healing?
Beautiful question. The best way to describe my journey, it's in two different points. One is in China and the other one is in Mexico. So I moved to China because I wanted to speak the three more spoken languages in the world. And I was so far away from home, and I was just in this stressful job, and like everything I knew, it was out of my control, right? So I ended up in the psychiatrist's office because I wasn't able to sleep, because I was having insomnia, because I was like super, super depressed and like honestly thinking of jumping out of the window, right? Because I was
Mm,
just, I was so miserable not being able to sleep, not feeling like people understood me. And that's when I found amazing yoga therapist, and I start going to sessions, and in 3 sessions I start sleeping better. And I had this flashback of me being at my home with my dad and watching this documentary about yoga and thinking, wow, one day I want to be a yoga teacher, right? And Nasim Mani was it's my yoga therapist and a good friend still and a mentor. And I was like, I really want to do what she's doing. So that's like the first step where I decided to get trained. And that's when I met Jenna and the amazing School of Kripalu. And then I thought I had just conquer insomnia and I was a sleep queen and teaching everybody all these tools and making my schedules and, being very strict. And then my dad passed away, and it was the most challenging time of my life. I went into this horrible nervous breakdown and I did not sleep for 4 days.
mhm.
So in this period, I was like, wow, like I will be able to help my clients better. Like I was feeling like crap. But then I was thinking about my clients, thinking about how I can help others. And then at the same time, it has taken me, I think even right now, I'm still working on it. So I'm not like perfect with my sleep. So if somebody else is listening and can't sleep, the sleep queen still has struggles with sleep. So that's technically what it happened. And then I decided to publish my beautiful book. And I think we're going to
Yes.
talk more about that. But in general, it was my own struggles that led me to help others and be able to be of service.
Wow. Yes.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Um, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I'm a mental health therapist. And so, what piqued my interest about your story is the connection between lack of sleep and suicidal ideation.
Hmm.
Are you able to just kind of speak a little bit more on that and ways that sleeping and having those habits and things were able to help you kind of heal in that way?
I'm not an expert, but I'll just tell you what I think it helped me. And I've recently read this beautiful book, Move Your Body, Heal the Mind. Heal the Mind, I think that's what it's called.
Mhm.
And it just talks about the research that backs up teen societal and what she was saying, just like teens won't talk to you about their problems, but just ask them how they're sleeping, because that's like the number one thing that's going wrong, right? And so I know that for myself, it was more that realization that my life wasn't mine.
Mm,
If I would have jumped, of course, my family would suffer. And, it was just like that realization of yes, I'm independent and I'm this and I'm that, but I have this beautiful family that I don't want to affect. So I think that was like the first thing. And then just like acknowledging that where I was, it was like, no, 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 no. What are you thinking? Like, come back, come back. And then I guess just God got me the little angels in my journey. Acupuncturist, a psychiatrist, yoga therapist, and a running buddy. So I think
Yeah.
those were the things that helped me.
Yeah, I love how you explained like kind of your holistic team that you had that helped you through that. Like you had someone that was helping you spiritually and mentally and physically and emotionally so that you could get through that hard time. That's incredible. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I have really admired your intentionality with creating those support networks in your life. I was in touch with you after your dad passed when you were in Mexico. And I remember you being so self-aware that you were struggling and so aware of what you needed to do to take care of yourself with different therapies, different treatments. And I just think that for me, having a friend like you who really walks the walk, doesn't just talk the talk, doesn't just say, oh, self-care, 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 but who actually prioritizes systems of support and understands that the more you support yourself, the more you can support others. Like having a friend like that is invaluable. And when readers pick up your book, they get to have you as their friend to accompany them on their sleep journey. So, Monica, if you would show us again that beautiful book cover and tell us about your book, Sleep Simplified.
Guys, let me tell you first, Jenna is in my spiritual praying circle. I wasn't able, like when this was happening, I wasn't able to like be on my phone for long, or like I was so sensitive to noise and light and so I was like, I can't put on Facebook that my dad is sick, that I need prayer. So I just texted Jenna and I texted Mindy, one of my friends. I'm like, my two prayers warriors. And of course, you guys all have to know that Jenna edited this book. So if it's good, like thanks to her, it's way better. Like, so I'm super, super, super grateful for that. And she's been like my teacher for writing. I speak four languages, so English. I'm at this point, I don't even know what I write. But 5 years ago, when I met Jenna, um, my writing was like so bad. So now it's better thanks to her. And I just have to say that.
Thank you, Monica. I think your writing is really, really solid.
Thank you.
So tell us more about what people can find in your book and why busy, driven women would want to pick up your book.
My mentor, Lee Albert, he's a neuromuscular therapist, said that this is the best sleep approach that he's ever seen, and he's seen many. And one of the reasons is because the tools are super, super simple. Honestly, like you just pick up a page and just read 2 pages. You read one tool and you get to practice it. And it's so holistic that it's not just, oh, my mind is not thinking. It's like the whole thing. Because I, as a yoga therapist and as a human, I don't see people as the little monkey mind that can't sleep. It's a holistic approach. What are you doing? Are you a mom? Are you a therapist as well? Do you have a business? Do you have all of them? Like what's going on, right? And one of the main things is that I created this book so it was an easy way for people to work with me, because I know like I have clients that had like my favorite client. Well, I shouldn't say that. I have a recent client that she wasn't sleeping more than 3 hours. at night. So maybe she would sleep 2 and then wake up for 3 and then go to bed at 1. Like it was like this crazy chaos. She had a lot of things going on physically. And after just one session, she got 8 hours of sleep. And next, like honestly, when I was in the call with her, I was like, God, help me. I don't know what to do here. Okay, I focus on my basic. This is what I'll do. And then next week we met and she told me this, and I was like, what? What did I do? Like, what did you do? Right. And when I had this call with her, I was like, wow, how can I make my book so simple that anybody who reads it and applies it can get these results? So that's like the main thing that is happening here. It's a super, super simple to read and implement. And Jenna, edit it. Just go by it. Just
And I love that Monica talks about creating sleep recipes. So
Oh.
she provides all these tools in the book, and you get to pick and choose the ones that resonate with you. You get to create your own special recipe for what works. And it's a very low pressure, no guilt, no shame way to approach the goal of getting more sleep. Monica, what's your favorite sleep tool right now that is in your nightly recipe for your beauty rest?
Yoga Nidra. Definitely Yoga Nidra wherever I am. What was it? A week ago, my phone got stolen, and I was like, how do I listen to my meditation?
Mm.
But other than that, I listen to it every night. And Yoga Nidra is a yogic sleep tool that it's a meditation, a guided meditation that with 10 minutes of rest, I mean 10 minutes of the audio is like getting an hour of rest. So even if you're not falling asleep, you can use it to feel more rested in the morning.
And you have your own yoga nidra that everyone
I,
should check out. We will link
I
it. It's
yes.
beautiful, very comforting. When I was going through a really hard time in my life, Monica's voice was very healing for me, and it still
Mm,
is. So I highly recommend that.
thank you.
When you meet with clients one on one and you're assessing them as a whole person, and I love that you said for this client, you're like, God help me, you're invoking God's help. What other tools do you use to help see the person as a whole?
I focus on a four-step framework. First, I start seeing how they're breathing, right? I feel like when people are reverse breathers and putting their system into fight or fight mode, that most people are not aware. And this is the easiest way to get huge results. It's not like super simple, but I feel that once you know that and you start training your body to breathe correctly, that's when like all the system it starts working better, right? Because if you're taking a breath and putting your your body in fight or flight mode, then you're in fight or flight mode all the time, even though you're taking breaths and you're like, oh yeah, I'm relaxing. Yeah, but your body doesn't know that. So technically, learning that so people can speak their body's language and then we focus on finishing the stress cycle because most people don't know that getting rid of the stressor, the baby crying, the boss, traffic, paying your monthly bills. Like if you get rid of that itself, it's not enough. Your body needs to release that stress. And you need to teach your body how is it that finish the stress cycle. And then we work on creating their sleep routine, as you were mentioning, Jenna. And that's going to look so different from everybody. So we start with the things that already work. How is your night routine? Most people say they don't have one, but they do have one. It might not be a healthy one, but they do have one. And then we just start adding little tools that are perfect for their lifestyle and their routine.
That is such
Awesome.
a great framework.
Yeah. I'm curious because Jenna mentioned there was a part where she mentioned about setting boundaries. And so, what would you say to a client that maybe would love to do their routine but struggles with setting the boundaries around the routine because something comes up, or there's a kid, or a baby, or a business idea, or just all of these things come up? How do you stay committed to the routine once you have that framework in place?
I think it's hard to say one specific thing. Um, but I think you have an example you want to ask. I'm just kidding. No, I think it's very difficult to say that like it's specifically how, right?
Mhm.
Because most people like their routine is going to be looked very different, right? So what I do is that I work with a 30-day program with them. So then like the first week we see an overall of what's going on and then we meet the week after, right? To tell me so we can talk about what happened and if I was having trouble setting boundaries or if or nothing work or everything work, right? So I think that accountability with me is like the first step to helping them set those boundaries. But it depends on somebody. Like it's going to be those boundary settings going to be super different from everybody. That answer the question?
It did. I guess I was kind of thinking of, you know, the sometimes I think, and maybe this is might be my like my mom perspective, but like, oh, once everyone else has everything that they need, then I can like rest, and then I can, as
Mm.
long as everybody else is taken care of, then I can like go to sleep. But really, I need to set a boundary and say, okay, well, I need to be able to be well rested in order to take care of other people, right? And there's a shift in mindset. So what are some like, I guess, practical ways for maybe like a someone in that situation? And I know not everyone will be moms, but like maybe a mom that's listening that is focused on maybe other people or their children's needs or their sleep habits and cycles and things. And then when they get that time to themselves, you hear a lot about the like revenge bedtimes and things like that. How do we balance that?
So that's a great question. I have a lot of clients that are moms, and what I recommend, and they get really good results, it's like not like to do the night routine with the kids. You
Mm.
know, kids are craving mom time. So why don't you dim the lights and either do a yoga with the kids or bedtime stories or anything that like the breathing exercise, any of the exercise in my book, you can do it with your kids.
Mm.
So that's like my recommendation number one is like, even if they're like adults, teenagers, I'm like, buy this book for your kid and just like work on these tools together, see what you come up with, right? Even if they, I have a lot of nieces and nephews that are in their teens and like nobody wants to be around them, right? But even if they don't really say that they listen, they'll read it and they'll understand, even if they do it in their room at midnight. If they get these tools, like once you start breathing and your body's like, wow, this feels good, the body's gonna ask for more.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
I think, Sierra, I'm relating to what you're sharing about kind of this just struggle I've had in my life of wanting to go, go, go and never stop. Just like I think a lot of my personal struggles with sleep are because I'm just really driven to keep doing things. And so as a mom, I'm thinking about how you're doing things all day for other people. And then, yeah, nighttime is your time to do something for you. And I feel like with conversations Monica and I have had in the past, tell me if I'm wrong, Monica, but maybe one way to work on this is to actually carve time throughout the day to do something for you so that you don't have to wait till the nighttime. You don't have to crunch it all in, which I guess that can be really hard practically. But yeah, Monica, tell us more because you're nodding and
I love this. I love, yes, go on a date with yourself once a week. Even
yes.
if you think you don't have time, like 15 minutes a week, it's good start, right? But also, like if you're training your body to breathe during the day and then you are doing this at night with your kids, like of course your body's gonna thank you, right? With better sleep, to be more focused. And all those physical issues going on, they'll start coming to balance because you are actually giving that space. And another practical tool is just to, well, let me say this first. Another thing that is very important for people who are listening is to set a realistic goal for their sleep, right? If you don't know how you're sleeping and how you want to wake up feeling, like you won't be able to make those changes, right? But if you make a goal that, oh yeah, I want to feel rested and I want to wake up without an alarm and stretch and feel happy. Like I had a mom tell me this week, I just want to go to bed now because I want to wake up in a better mood, you know? And I know that sometimes it's not easy to either fall asleep or stay asleep at night. But then, what is your unique situation and how you can start working with that? And one way to set boundaries at night is like to have that schedule and say, okay, right now I'm going to bed at midnight, and ideally I want to go to bed at 10 p.m. So this week I'll start 11:45. This month, especially for moms, like even 5 minutes. But at least you already have that acknowledgement and that awareness of what's really going on.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. I'm thinking of Jenna and I this week because I feel like, are just like soaking this all in because this week I texted her at hope, like praying that her alarm wasn't on, that her phone wasn't on. I texted her at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I get a text back from her, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I woke you up." She's like, "No, I was up writing," and I was like, "Oh, I was up thinking about business stuff."
And it's so ironic because that night my friends had been a victory for me because I'd gone to bed at 9 o'clock. And I was like so proud of myself. But then I woke up at midnight and couldn't go back to bed. And so after like an hour of tossing and turning, I was like, this is bad. You need to get out of bed now. So that is
Mm.
definitely a sleep tip I have. Do not spend an hour tossing and turning in bed. If you cannot sleep after 20 minutes, get out of bed and reset. So, and any writing I did was not at all productive. So I would have much rather been sleeping. But what I should have done is I should have turned Monica's Yoga Nidra on. And she's like, you know this, Jenna. You know you should have done that. No screens.
Say something. If you have like you're saying that your writing wasn't productive, so you know that now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But for somebody who doesn't know, somebody who's like, I just need to get all these things out of my head, I'm like, okay, go do it, but take care of yourself after, right? So I remember, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, this would happen with every full moon.
Oh.
Every full moon, 3 a.m., here I am, right? And for me, it was like, okay, block your calendar. I'll start sending emails to people like I won't be available today, and then I'll just start doing all my work for that day. So then afterwards, like whatever time I did go to bed, I was able to rest and I didn't have to run. And I was working for myself back then. So it wasn't like I had to be at the office the next morning, right? So that's like if you have the ability to actually do it, that day, nothing's going to change. If you get things out of your to-do list, if you get that stressor, if you really have to do, like, go do it, but then take care of yourself.
That's brilliant. That just blew my mind because I would have never thought of like, I would have just tried to struggle through the next day doing everything I planned. But if I can't sleep, I might as well do everything I needed for that day while I can't sleep and then wake up and be able to sleep, sleep later that day. That's brilliant. That's why you're the sleep queen. That is so
Thank
smart.
you.
I love that. I love it.
Thank you.
And that is one thing that I have observed with Monica as we've traveled together and stayed together at trainings is she is really good at having flexibility.
Mm.
I used to be very, very rigid in my thinking and just trying to force myself into a really strict schedule. And that just doesn't work for me at this time. And I'm not just talking about sleep, I'm talking about life in general. And Monica is a great example of like listening to your body. Yes, setting goals. Yes, taking care of yourself, but not shaming yourself when you're not able to sleep. Just make a plan to work with it. So thank you for embodying that, Monica. And thank you so much for your time today. I want to honor our time limit with you, but before we wrap up, I want to ask if there's anything else you'd like to share that's on your heart.
Well, I'm so honored to be here. And honestly, for everybody listening, just take care of yourself. And that's going to feel different. And the moment you start setting boundaries, it's going to be hard and people are not going to like it. And at the end of the day, the only person that's going to be there for you, who's going to love you unconditionally, is yourself. So start doing little things for yourself and go pick up that book and maybe you'll find it easier. And honestly, if there's somebody that in your family or your friends that is not sleeping, send them this podcast episode because awareness comes in so different ways.
Yes. Thank you so much, Monica. And I want to encourage everyone to check out Monica's website, monicalebaron.com. Until next time, I hope everyone gets some good sleep. Don't forget to subscribe and to follow us on social media. And I'm Jenna Carson.
I'm Sierra Larson. Remember to follow the peace.